Hello guys. This video is about the recent border disputes in Asia that create complex situations between different countries. But before starting the video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. According to the United Nations, there are 48 countries along in Asia. So, one can imagine the number of borders between the countries in Asia. Some of the countries share the open borders for trade and travel, whereas some of them have strict border rules heavily guarded by military forces. Some borders are sorted for years now, while some of them still create amid a dispute between the countries time and again. Disputed borders often create the conflict and outbreak of the war among countries. On number 5. Doklam. Doklam is an area with a plateau and a valley, lying between China's Chumbi Valley to the north, Bhutan's Ha Valley to the east, and India's Sikkim state to the west. It has been depicted as part of Bhutan in the Bhutanese map since 1961, but it is also claimed by China. To date, the dispute has not been resolved despite several rounds of border negotiations between Bhutan and China. The area is of strategic importance to all three countries. In June 2017, a military standoff occurred between China and India as China attempted to extend a road on the Doklam Plateau southwards near the Dokharla Pass, and Indian troops moved in to prevent the Chinese. India claimed to have acted on behalf of Bhutan, with which it has a special relationship. Bhutan has formally objected to China's road construction in the disputed area. India charges that China has violated this peace agreement by trying to construct roads in Doklam. India has criticized China for crossing the border and attempting to construct a road done illegally, while China has criticized India for entering its territory. Chinese officials have also warned India that it should learn historic lessons from its humiliating defeat in the 1962 war that both countries fought over their border. In response, Indian Defence Minister Arun Jaitley retorted that India in 2017 is different from India in 1962, referring to its improved military strength. On the 29th of June 2017, Bhutan protested the Chinese construction of a road in the disputed territory. The Bhutanese border was put on high alert and border security was tightened as a result of the growing tensions. On the same day, China released a map depicting Doklam as part of China, claiming, via the map, that all territory up to Jipmochi belonged to China by the 1890 Britain-China Treaty. On number 4. South China Sea. Countries like China, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and the Philippines are involved in the disputed island and maritime claims of the South China Sea. These countries hold different territorial claims over the sea based on their accounts of geographical history. China has built the 9-dash line that stretches far to the Chinese mainland as its geographical marker to hold the claim. Paracel and Spratly Islands are claimed by Vietnam, whereas the Philippines claims its ownership over Spratly Islands and remaining countries asserts their sovereignty over southern parts of the sea. The sea has importance because it is a huge part of global trade shipping, and a total of $4 trillion of international trade passes through it. Oil and other petroleum products are imported across this sea to reach other countries. This sea also accommodates the world's fisheries. China often criticizes the United States for the acting catalyst to provoke tension among Southeast Asian nations. In 2014, the deployment of a Chinese drilling rig in waters near the Paracel Islands led to several confrontations between Vietnamese and Chinese ships and provoked protests in Vietnam. On the 20th of July 2011, the PRC, Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam agreed to a set of preliminary guidelines on the implementation of the Declaration of Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, DOC, which would help resolve disputes. A binding agreement has been discussed for years to little avail, but in August 2018 it was revealed all the parties had agreed on a single draft negotiating text. On number 3. Fergana Valley. The Fergana Valley is a valley in Central Asia spread across eastern Uzbekistan, southern Kyrgyzstan, and northern Tajikistan. Divided into three republics of the former Soviet Union, the valley is ethnically diverse and in the early 21st century was the scene of ethnic conflict. The ethnically and culturally complex region divided among three Central Asian republics of Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, witnessed several problems ranging from interethnic tensions to border incursions, from security-related complications to many socio-economic difficulties in the recent years. Moreover, it is also the most densely populated areas in Central Asia. Though sometimes the threat of religious extremism and intolerance in the Fergana Valley has been exaggerated, yet it is difficult to completely deny their presence in the region and the obvious threat it has been posing for entire Central Asia in the future. However, the rivalry between the elites of the three republics and their struggle for power also play a prominent role in the disturbances that have been taking place in Fergana Valley, as the elites of the valley do not want to lose their predominant position in the newly formed political establishments of their respective republics. A river canal network stretches across the Fergana Valley, which is shared by all three countries. But a debate over who controls precious water resources has led to a 30-year-long border dispute between Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. On number 2. Jammu and Kashmir. The dispute between India and Pakistan over Kashmir was sparked by a fateful decision in 1947 and has resulted in decades of violence, including 2 wars. Since 1947, India and Pakistan have been locked in conflict over Kashmir, a majority Muslim region in the northernmost part of India. The mountainous, 86,000 square mile territory was once a princely state. Now, it is claimed by both India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan both claim Kashmir, a disputed region of some 18 million people. India administers the area south of the line of control. Pakistan administers northwestern Kashmir. China took eastern Kashmir from India in a 1962 war. The 2010s were marked by further unrest erupting within the Kashmir Valley. The 2010 Kashmir unrest began after an alleged fake encounter between local youth and security forces. Thousands of youths pelted security forces with rocks, burned government offices, and attacked railway stations and official vehicles in steadily intensifying violence. On the 5th of August, India revoked that 7-decade-long privileged status, as the governing party had promised in its 2019 election manifesto. The Hindu nationalist BJP has long opposed Article 370 and had repeatedly called for its abolishment. Telephone networks and the internet were cut off in the region in the days before the presidential order was announced. Public gatherings were banned, and tens of thousands of troops were sent in. Tourists were told to leave Kashmir under warnings of a terror threat. India's parliament has now passed a bill splitting Indian-administered Kashmir into 2 territories governed directly by Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, and remote, mountainous Ladakh. On number 1. Lipulekh and Karlapani. The Nepali government's move to unveil a new political map came after India published its map more than 6 months ago, including the Lipulekh and Karlapani areas in its claimed territory. The tensions between the two neighbors deepened further when India inaugurated a road linking Dhartala in Uttarakhand state to Lipulekh as part of the Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage route. According to Nepal's claim, it lies in Dhartala district, Paschim Pradesh. The territory represents the basin of the Karlapani River, one of the headwaters of the Kali River in the Himalayas at an altitude of 3,600 to 5,200 meters. The valley of Karlapani, with the Lipulekh Pass at the top, forms the Indian route to Kailash Mansarovar, an ancient pilgrimage site. The Kali River forms the boundary between India and Nepal in this region. However, India states that the headwaters of the river are not included in the boundary. India has been occupying Nepal's claimed land, but it has been long reluctant to sit for dialogue. There is no doubt that the release of a new political map will escalate the dispute between two countries, but it has also put pressure on the Indian side to sit for talks. In recent years, India has perceived Nepal as tilting toward China, and this may be one of the reasons that it sees China's hand behind the recent move. A joint technical committee of Indian and Nepalese officials have been discussing the issue since 1998, along with other border issues. But the matter has not yet been resolved. Comment down below about your views regarding these border disputes and what should be done to settle them. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.